Well, good Sunday morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here, you know this is not your normal Sunday show. This is R. Wayne Steiger of the R. Wayne Steiger channel. Make sure you do subscribe to that before this show is over. And, of course, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. So nice to see you here. Cog TV, Rebecca Spooner, Johan, Gan, Jerry, Rebecca, Billy, Jerry, Alfred.
We're going to have to get more coffee.
We are. Spartan, Mary Huffman, Nick, Shane, Robert, Gary, Nigel, Rachel, Mystery, and they just keep coming in. So I try to mention as many as I can. But Wayne, I woke up this morning, and sometimes life is, well, I was going to say tough, but I don't mean tough. Sometimes life is interesting with an empathic woman, because I woke up and I didn't say anything. I just was going about my business, drinking my coffee. And Sandra says to me, honey, what's wrong? And I tried the old nothing is wrong, everything's fine. And she's like, Jeff, what's wrong? And we've been, we've had lots of great victories over the past few weeks and months in our life. And I have been, over the past week especially, I've been just flagrantly and viciously being attacked in my dream life, Wayne. And I know that it's horrible attacks from archonic beings or whatever you want to call them. And I'm just getting pummeled in my dream life. And the last couple of nights have been so bad that I've even had trouble, getting any sleep. And a couple of points I want to make. Hello, Lou and Renee and Skies Above, Blazing River, Davina. The couple of points I hope we can talk about is, number one, the fact that we can get attacked in our dreams. And number two, it's relatively an easy and elementary process to guard, and I call it sanctify and protect your dreams. But I had gotten so arrogant, I think that I didn't think I had to do it anymore. But it doesn't matter how far you think you get, you still need to do basic things. Like, it doesn't matter how rich you are, you still need to brush your teeth. And it's just been a very interesting, eye-opening experience to me. And yeah, there it is.
Are you aware of who the energy forces are? I mean, you've seen your dreams. I mean,
yep.
I had a rather prominent one myself this week. So when you talk about the attacks, how is it coming at you?
They're just a series of visions and images that are, and I say series, and Siri pops up on my phone and wants to know what's going on. But just images and scenarios that are very untrue, very horrific, feeding on my worst fears, and just one after the other. Scenarios being broadcasted to me.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Scenario after scenario of things that strike at my deepest fears that I know will never happen, and understand that they are attacks, but yet they keep coming.
Well, I'm going to quote Rocky.
Balboa?
You know what you got to do here, Rocky? They're attacking you where they think you're weak at.
Yeah.
You got to come back, and you got to give them a left jaw right when they think an uppercut is coming.
Yeah, you're quoting Mickey, the trainer.
Yeah. So,
Rocky says, I ain't gonna, yo, Mick, I don't want to chase no chicken. I look like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
But I'm telling you, Rocky, you got to come in there, but that's the point. It's if they want to dance, then this is what I tell you to do, my friend. I say, let's dance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you come at me in my dreams, and let me tell you, it means that you're onto a path that
absolutely
they don't want to get out there.
Absolutely.
And the way I look at it, these archons, they've been around for a very long time. I was reading in the Nag Hammadi, in the section called The Concept of the Great Power. And this is really the Christ consciousness.
I've got the Nag Hammadi right there. I was going to grab it, but
yeah,
I have to stand up. It's not worth it.
And in the section it talks about
I'm going to do it.
Archons attack the place where the word first appeared. So it's the word that has gone forth that these Archons, whoa, hard hat area.
What section are we in?
We are in the concept of our great power.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, this is a fascinating read. It is just so freaking cool that the way it puts in, because it's actually talking about the Christ consciousness. By the way, I'll just tell you, it's really, I've spent more time reading this week than I have ever have. Something's up. And boy, I keep on finding reference after reference after reference that the sun went dark during the day. The sun going dark. Yeah, interesting. But many follow the revealer and record his words is the section I'm looking at. And it talks about many will follow him, and they will labor in the regions where they are born. They will go about, write down his words as they wish. Observe that these eons are gone. How large is the water of the eon that has dissolved? What are the dimensions of the eons? How will people prepare themselves? How will they be established? How will they become indestructible eons? At first, after his preaching, he proclaimed the second eon along with the first, and the first eon must perish with the passing of time. And if you go over to the next, and it said, he spent time in the first eon as he went about it until it perished. And he preached for 120 years. This is the perfect number which is held in the high regard. He made the border with the west desolate, and he destroyed the east. Your seed and those who wish to follow our great word and his proclamation. It talks about how
we got the same book, Wayne.
Same one. So we're on to something here. The thing that what I've been learning about, I've been reading the Corpus Hermeticum, and these are the words of Hermes.
Can I say something about this before we move on?
Sir. Yeah, no, let's continue.
The Archons attacked the place where the word first appeared. I'm talking about being attacked in dreams. Where does the word or the truth really first appear to people? Doesn't it come, if it's from the divine, as a thought, as an impression, as an inspiration in our subconscious or our higher self? And isn't that really probably at least very close to the dream life?
I think it's absolutely spot on.
That's why the Archons so focus their attacks on our dreams.
Yes. And if you remember what Peter said, he said in the last days, he says, your young men shall see visions, your old men shall dream dreams.
I'm not really happy about the old men part of that, Wayne, but.
Well, now let's just take it in the lifespan of the first century. The lifespan was 35 years.
Well, we're definitely old. I mean, we can dance around it and try to deny it, but we're old.
Well, listen, I think it's the blessing of what you can call Atom. I love that term for God. Atom, meaning the God of one.
And it's funny, Wayne, I've had the same best friend since I was 11 years old. And he watches my channel. He says, Jeff, I haven't seen him in about 6 months. You look so good. You've lost all this weight. You look so young. And he doesn't have any gray hair. He goes, I just don't know why you have that gray hair. And he's trying to talk me into going to I get my hair cut on Tuesday. He's trying to talk me into getting it colored and highlighted and make it look blonde, look like a surfer. And I said this to Sandra. She's like, no bleeping way. We all try to avoid old age, don't we?
Well, I think it's because we just been taught wrong about it. That's all, know.
And old age is tough, but it sure beats the alternative.
Well, like I said, I think it's a blessing. So many do not get, if this life is for the journey, then if it's the acquiring of experience, which should lead to knowledge, which should lead to wisdom.
Yep.
It means the longer your days are, the more God favors you.
Well, yeah, I could see that. I mean, at least it means you're learning some things and somebody thinks you might be on the right path.
Well, how does a wise man become wise?
Experience.
Exactly.
Age.
And if our years are limited to 120 years, which, by the way, when you read in the Nag Hammadi and you read in the Corpus Hermeticum, you find out those rat bastards came in and stole. We were guaranteed 1,000 years. Guaranteed. It was the law of the universe, the law of one. We were guaranteed 1,000 years to live, but because of the intervention of the archons and what's happened to us as a species, the grandeur of who we are, we're gods. Yeah. We just don't realize it.
Absolutely.
And that's what the battle has been, is that we are the envy of every other demigod and god that's out there, or goddess.
We are. And Wayne, I'm studying for another show, another podcast I'm going to do. And I think I might have already done a little bit of this. The Christ tells us very plainly that nobody gets to be a higher spiritual being. No one gets to walk this path of divinity unless they have first had a human incarnation and then a spiritual rebirth. So that's one of the reasons why we are the envy. We are the so many other types of beings hate us, because if they've not had a human incarnation, they know it's just a matter of time before we reach higher than them. And I'm echoing a couple of comments in the chat room. I agree. I don't care if it turns colors, just as long as it doesn't turn loose. Speaking of my hair.
So you have there on the origins of the world, and wow. You know,
what
we
page,
talked.
Wayne?
I am trying to pull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go to page 214.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there.
Yeah. The powers rape earthly Eve. This, I read this to my wife, and she said, that is so graphical.
Yes.
She said, where did you get this? And I read this to her, and I just want to read this. Since Eve was a heavenly power, she laughed at because they tried to rape her. And she was above them. She blinded them, and Eve, the mother of all, went back up into her heavenly light. And it says she left a replacement of her, which was Eve, that gave life to Adam. It's the other way. You know, we've been taught it was the other way, Adam and then Eve. It was no, the way it was Eve and then Adam. Adam was created by these gods, and each one had a part into it, but the body wouldn't move.
I challenge anyone to show me any creation absent a female.
Yes, exactly. And in fact, as I read in the Hermetica last night, I was just fascinated. God had sex with himself.
Oh, that's a little weird.
Well, but you have to understand, if you're an androgynous being, well, in order to make the feminine of you, that's where the cosmos comes in and the balance of who Atom is. Atom will always have the positive side, and there's going to be the opposite side. But
interesting. I don't have to go to work, Wayne. I just got an email. So
see, there's favor right there on you, buddy. It says, so Eve entered in and became the tree of knowledge and stayed there. The rulers chased her, and she revealed to them that she had entered the tree and had become a tree. The blind powers fell in great fear and ran away. Here's what it later says. Later, when they recovered their sight, they came to Adam, and they saw a female like the woman with him, and they were troubled, and they thought it was Eve. They acted rashly. They came to her, seized her, and ejaculated their semen upon her. The powers acted wickedly. They defiled her in ways natural and obscene. First, they defiled the seal of her voice, which was said to them, what exists before you? In this way, they meant also to defile those who say that they were born at the end of the age through the word. through the true human. The authorities and their angels erred. They did not know they defiled their own body and likeness in all their ways. And then it goes on saying how Eve gave birth first to Abel and then to Cain, because of each one of these gods that came and raped her and ejaculated in her. This is so graphic.
Wayne, you have just shown the seed of why big time religion, Abrahamic religion, started off trying to silence the sacred feminine and is still trying to silence the sacred feminine. And the best way to silence the sacred feminine is to silence all feminine and all women. And I don't care how much of a Christian you are, you still need to explain to me why Paul said a woman should shut up in church, why Paul said a woman can't have authority over a man, why Paul said a woman shouldn't even ask a question, why Paul said women should be keepers at home, and why Paul said that women were made for the sexual pleasure of men. Is it hard to understand why archons who did that to Eve would say that women are created purely for the sexual pleasure of men? And is it hard to think that archons that did this would inspire Paul to write that if it wasn't for having her own man, every woman would be whoring herself out to all kinds of spirits? Paul said every one of those things, and if you don't like him, don't get mad at me, get mad at Paul.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you the book that's been profoundly affecting me in my dreams, two of them that I have read this week. Give me 1 second here.
Hey, Wayne, it looks like Jeff is struggling with letting go of his previous brainwashing. What would have brought that on?
That's weird.
It is a little odd, but hey.
That's all. So
it takes all kinds. And I've got to say thank you to everybody. We're over... during this show, we'll go over 22,000 subscribers. It's over 4,000 subscribers this month. I don't know what's happening, but keep it up, please, because it's beautiful, and I appreciate you so much.
Wayne, I'd like to try that. The Secret Book of John is
that's a good one.
Powerful.
That's here too, folks.
Yeah, powerful book. Wow. I mean, what did you think about it? It profoundly impacted me in what the master was saying, and that he revealed it to Mary.
Yeah, Wayne, I actually did a whole series on it, and there's 21,964. It'd be great if we could pop that over 22,000 during this show, but at any rate, yeah, I thought it was so profound, I made a series on it from start to finish.
So your assessment on it, I mean, the history of this book is more validatable than the Gospels.
Since you asked me, I think it was probably written by Mary Magdalene, and most of the writings of John, I think, were written by Mary Magdalene, and they were either, if there was a Jesus figure, he was really preaching what she told him, because it wasn't acceptable in that day for women to do it, and much the same reason that John's name was put on a lot of her writings. That's what I haven't been able to prove it, and I don't know if I ever will, but from my sense and from 37 years of being in this, that's what I think happened.
How interesting. So I read this one, and it's a shame that we lost 1/3 of the first part of the book, because I
think that's in here too.
Yes, it is. In that section, it's really interesting that the Christ said, there is no sin.
That's right.
There is no sin. The sin is the fact that we so revile ourselves that we insult the Creator by insulting ourselves.
That's such a great point, Wayne. When you think about this whole doctrine of original sin, which states that every one of us is born flawed and failed and a failure, that, I always thought about that as coming against me, but what does that say against who created us? So this whole idea of original sin is not only an attack on us to initiate and keep us within a fear and guilt control matrix, it's also an attack on the Creator.
Yes.
You've done a lousy job, Creator. So it just shows again, Wayne, that in this book we call the Bible, there's at least two different gods in here, and you've got to figure out which one said what and which one you're following.
Bingo. I mean, that's what we said the last week. I said, so is Yahweh Jesus's father? I don't think so.
No, he's not. There's no way he is. In fact, Jesus said he's not my father. And he said he's your daddy.
It's like,
and he's the devil.
It's like, no, I don't think so. Because, and I guess when I'm really getting the appreciation, something is happening. There is a compression, at least I'm sensing it, that we don't have much time. I mean, if you're going to get this knowledge, you're going to have to get real serious with yourself, folks. Stop playing the games. Stop doing the social thing. You're going to have to get down, bite the bullet, and start reading.
Yep. That's so true. And I can remember, and R.W. Shambach, we've mentioned his name a few times, and he knew more than he was letting on, because I can remember him saying, your daddy's the devil and you're living a lie.
What was his famous moniker? You've got what is it?
It said, you don't have any problems. All you need is faith in God.
There you go. That's it.
And so what? That's the truth.
It is the truth. And so I had an epiphany this week. When you start breaking down this core, for me, it was breaking down, decades and decades of this indoctrination, because I could never.
Our spirits transferred through sex, Wayne.
Are spirits transferred through sex? I don't think spirits are, but I think that there is an energy that can be attached to.
Absolutely. I think what Victoria is asking her to answer her question is yes, whether it's an actual spirit or not, but there is tremendous amounts of energy transferred during sex. That's why I'm so big against warning you against profane sex, against mundane sex, and holding yourself to the standard of sacred sex.
Ooh, can I share? Okay, this will just be very quick because it's so odd that you mentioned that.
Is there ejaculating involved in this, Wayne?
No, this is as you can see, the Hermetica, the lost wisdom of the pharaohs. So this is talking about Atam making God. Atam is the definition that it basically. Are you seeing where I'm going? That Atam is the God of one. I mean, I got to tell you, folks, there is joy in here because I have finally begun to see this God. And it's not this, but look at this. Bestowed on mankind the sacrament of reproduction, full of affection and joy, gladness and yearning, and all the heavenly love that is in his being. I would have to explain the nature of this compelling sacred bond that binds a man and a woman together. Were it not that each of one of us, if we explore our innermost feelings, we can experience for ourselves, contemplate the supreme moment, when each sex infuses itself with the other, one giving forth, the other eagerly embracing. At that moment, through the intermingling of the two natures, the female acquires male vigor, and the male is relaxed in female languor. The sweet sacramental act we celebrate is shared in secret, because if performed openly before impure eyes, the ignorant may mock, and the divine power manifesting in both sexes will shy away.
Oh. And what have we got today on the internet? The biggest thing is pornography, which is doing that publicly, which is driving away the sacredness of the act.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And if we could only grasp what Hermes is saying, this is Thoth. This is Thoth talking about Atam and this precious sacrament of a gift that was given to the woman and the man.
Yes.
It's powerful.
Wow, that's very powerful.
I mean, it's like you read that and it's like being slapped in the face.
Yeah. And it's so true. I mean, if you're in a relationship that includes sacred sexuality, it's so much easier to be balanced between your male and your female.
Yes. Yes. You know, if
Thankfully,
we were,
Sammy, I don't think you can see my stand-up comedy anywhere. I don't think there's any videos of it. At least I hope there's not.
I think that if we were just taught this in our youth, that instead of being and I really have to say, it's almost being hijacked, in the mind, that once it starts going down this path, particularly I think where sexuality is concerned, we're never taught. We're taught by religion, particularly Christianity. It's so ostracized. It's forbidden. That's just going to make any kid going to go, well, why? Yeah. Curiosity. But if we were taught as children that this was a gift of God, the creator, the mind of God, boom. The spirits, the archons, they don't have that divinity of the sacrament of what we call intercourse between the man and the woman.
Right.
Powerful, powerful stuff.
I remember Jimmy Swaggart said to me, the best way to make somebody do something is to make a rule against it.
Boy, there you go, Jimmy. Bubba, he had some wisdom.
Jimmy knew some stuff. He really did. He also knew some stuff he shouldn't have known, but that's another story.
I'm going to be thinking of that Seinfeld committee, the one that where Jimmy always speaks of himself in the first person.
Oh, that's right. Jimmy doesn't like that.
Yeah, Jimmy don't think. So anyway, but
Jimmy had swag, says Sammy Zerillo. Yeah,
he did.
He's still alive, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about him in the past tense, but Jimmy's up
still
in his 70s, but he's still alive.
He's still there. And, even as we continue to go down this, we see the outside world coming exactly what it's supposed to be doing. I often, had this challenge about prophecy. Well, if prophecy had any foundation, well, if you knew about it ahead of time, then why wouldn't you take a different course?
Exactly.
But Hermes says that there are already those decisions about you that is already preset, and much of it comes because of the prior knowledge that apparently we have with these eternal spirits.
So Wayne, are you saying that there is such a thing as predestination? Are you going hyper Calvinistic on me?
No. What I am saying is that the untrained, disciplined mind is what Hermes is saying, is what the mass of the population does. They will not change because, as he says, their ignorance is more weighted than their knowledge.
What do you think that means? Their ignorance is more weighted than their knowledge?
Well, if you stand before what the Egyptian Book of the Dead says, in which I've been reading on this, when Anna and Tutu made this papyra of this preparation, ignorance is defined as that is one who refuses to know which is known.
Yes.
And when you get before the scales, the feather that's going to weigh you is the feather of your ignorance.
Is it the feather of your ignorance or the one of your stupidity, Wayne?
They may be synonymous.
Because I'm thinking, in my mind, ignorance means I didn't know. Stupidity means I knew and chose not to do it. But then again, in this age, in 2000, on September 16th, 2018, if we're ignorant, it's almost sure that we're willfully ignorant because the information is out there for us to get, but we spend too much time on Snapchat and Pinterest and Instagram and Mortal Kombat and Halo and all this other stuff you're talking about, the social media and the games, and listening to Jay Campbell and some of the people that he hangs out with. The video games have taken the men down and the social media have taken the women down. And we may still be ignorant. And, the old saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse. I think ignorance is no excuse. If you get to the place where you could have known, and now you can know anything you want through the great oracle of Google or Siri or whatever, you can know anything you want. The only reason you don't know is because you're too lazy to take the time to put down your app or your game and find it out for yourself.
Didn't the master say, to he who has much more will be given, and to he who has not, even that which he has shall be taken away.
Be taken away from him.
Yeah.
If you have ears to see or ears to hear and eyes to see Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, but not any true wisdom or knowledge, shame on you. We've done all we can.
And, you know,
I got to do something about all the subscribers, Wayne. I got to get rid of some of them.
And that's what the dedication is. People are recognizing it, you know, whether it's Rex, you know, I could think of Heidi.
We got a nice text from Rex this morning. Thank you, Rex.
You know, I could just list half a dozen. Global Witness, Jay Campbell, all these people who are now, as I had a guest Friday night, Karen said she's been watching this, and she says, it's amazing what's happening here. There's a core being formed.
Is she the Queen of Quartz?
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, send her an email and she'll send you free crystals.
Oh, nice.
She has 5 tons of it.
Wow.
Yes. This woman
That's a lot of crystals.
Oh, it's amazing. And she's actually mined them herself.
That's amazing. So she's a busy lady, huh?
Quite remarkable woman, highly intelligent, very sensitive. And as she is seeing, there is this sphere that has formed, and there is a knowledge core emerging. I think
there really is.
Pardon?
There really is.
There really is. So anyway, I digress on the point that I was sitting on reading, and I told Lynn, I said, honey, I'm getting a sense that the hourglass, the sands are you're getting fewer and fewer.
Now you sound like Jay Campbell.
You know, it's overwhelming. I cannot tell you that I can't read enough. I can't begin to meditate enough. I purposely during the day will take 90 minutes out and just meditate. And everything is quiet. For myself, I get in a prone position. And basically, you could say that for me, it's the posture of bringing in where I can meditate more and keep this soul, I'm trying to express what I'm saying, contained here, and let the wisdom that I have read saturate my soul.
Interesting. What was I just going to ask you, Wayne? Doggone it. I had a good question in my mind and I forgot it.
You'll remember it.
I'll remember it.
You have a mind that is
sharp. Anyway, I mean, it is amazing. Oh, I was just thinking about my life profoundly changed with that first solar eclipse we had, and that was last year, right? 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it was just a tremendous shift. And I think the second one that's coming to complete the X, which will come over Missouri in 2024. I'm not saying the world's going to end in 2024. I'm not saying that you know it's Armageddon in 2024. But I just have this profound sense that between now and 2024, we've really got the opportunity to take advantage of the completed Christ. We've got the opportunity to have all the feminine wisdom and all the masculine wisdom. And between now and 2024, we get a chance to change ourselves, become ourselves, move and learn and grow and develop. And I just have this profound feeling that once 2024 and that eclipse comes, you are what you are, or you is what you is. Yeah. So I really think this is the last generation of real humans. And I really think we need to get busy, because come 2024, you are what you are.
That's profound, Jeff. You know, when I took the pictures, and they're on my channel, you can go back and look at them.
Yeah.
I swear now what I'm seeing, I mean, I'm seeing what I took in this book. There was a portal opened up. I swear it's what I caught.
Yep, it sure looked like it.
That pyramid, Jeff, I'm telling you, something opened up, and I think you're right. This is a time of preparation. Now, you can say that this has correlation to the book of Revelation, that this is, you know, this 3.5 year period of time, 7 years, that we have time to prepare, whatever.
But it's not tribulation, Wayne, it's jubilation.
You know, and I think that that's exactly it, because what I'm reading in the Nag Hammadi and the Gnostics is that's what the Christ was saying. That, yeah, there's going to be tumult. That's because the earth, there's a lot of forces in A. And one of the questions I wanted to ask on the eons in the book of the originating of the powers, where we see the archons coming,
Right.
attacking the word. I think that I kept seeing this over and over last night. The end of the age, the end of the age, the end of the age. Yeah. And I swear, Jeff, that we are in fact in an end of an age. We got the 2012 Mayan calendar all messed up. We allowed the heretics to take over, the ignorance to come in. I think they were trying to tell us is, folks, this is the end of something, but you're not even recognizing what it is.
Yep, powerful. And Deborah asked, where will the crossing meet for the eclipse? I believe it's in Missouri. I'm already making plans to be there.
I can tell you, Lexington, right there in the Boot Hill. You'll see it there.
It is Missouri, right?
Lexington, Kentucky, I think, is in Missouri. Yep, going right up through Cape Girardeau, heading over. Cape Girardeau,
yeah, okay.
Yep. Yep.
And somebody also asked another question. Oh, they just said that Naughty Beaver believes there'll be something major in 2023, 2024. So there's a lot of thought on this.
I'm learning more and more about Saturn, and it is replete. The book we were just reading, the Hermetica, and in the Nag Hammadi talks about as well Saturn. Saturn, it says, is the balance and administrates justice.
Some people think that Rex's guest last night was a Nordic alien. I didn't see that guest. Did you?
I saw her. Yeah, she has a very does not surprise me. I believe as well, the Vatican knows this in Sectarum Omega. They know that disclosure is coming. There's so much speculation, about the events at the observatory and what have you, but, and I'm not there. There's plenty of other people speculating on it, but I sense, though, we're about to get a shock. I really do. You know what happens on Thursday, right?
I don't know what happens on Thursday.
Well, everyone has your cell phones. You will be getting the new text on Thursday from the President of the United States. This is a test, but this is the first time that FEMA will be involved, and this will be a nationwide drill.
Wow.
So
that's kind of, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. I just took a look at her. Are we talking about that blonde girl that's supposed to be the Nordic alien?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah. It seems that the master was saying that they're here. He was saying, listen, I think that's where he's been, to be candid with you. I really think that he has gone in this plane to other worlds. I don't think that this is an Earth event alone.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think this is a, if not galactic, universal event that is about to take place. And I'm getting affirmation of it as I'm speaking of this. I don't think it's just Earth alone. I think that this is bigger.
Did Donald Trump designate this as like Preparedness Month or something?
Yes, he did. And, this is pretty advanced now when you can actually start having the federal government come in. And it just shows you how easily these phones, these black mirror devices are connected.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to get a text from the President of the United States saying this is a test. It's only
this a test. This is a test, yes.
If the emergency had been real, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Isn't it odd that you'd get it directly from the White House?
That's very odd. Why isn't it coming from FEMA or from some other? Yeah. You just got to wonder what the Donald has up his Armani sleeve.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't play poker with him.
No, I would not either.
I just wouldn't do it.
There's a lot of thoughts and a lot of emotional and what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of passionate beliefs regarding Donald Trump. But boy, I would not want to play poker with him. And I've met him and shook his hand and had a 20-minute conversation with him. And yeah, I agree with you, Wayne. I wouldn't want to be his enemy. Let's put it that way.
So the question now becomes this. If we look at the prophet Daniel, and I think Daniel was plugged into an ancient not the what we would consider the Hebrew God Yahweh. I think that Daniel was connected to something much greater.
I have no doubt about it. I think Daniel was probably the greatest magician of all time, and he makes Solomon look like a dabbler. And I think Daniel might have been connected to the true Ancient of Days.
Can I say one thought about Daniel? I think he was a time traveler.
I agree 100%. And I've never even thought about that, but it just hit me. Yes, he was.
Yeah, he came to the future. He saw this day. And knowledge is now available, Jeff, like I have never known it before. Knowledge, the hidden knowledge, the knowledge that you read and you go, whoa. And I mean, it's like plugging yourself into a cattle prod.
And Daniel said that in the time where people from the lowest person to the greatest person can travel great distances in almost no time, he said in those days, the emergence of Da'ath will come, which is hidden knowledge, the hidden divine knowledge that has been screened and shielded and held from us. And I talked about this on Coast to Coast, and that there is a being that Daniel called, or a system that Daniel called the Antichrist, which would work to keep this information from coming out. And part of their plan to keep it from coming out was to change timelines, to change notable events, and even to fiddle with time itself. So that's how important Da'ath is, this emerging knowledge that this Antichrist system, being, person, whatever you would think it is, they're willing to disrupt time itself to keep this information from coming to the greatest of us to the least of us.
I pulled this back up, the Hermetica, because this is exactly what Hermes said. He said that the time will come again, that the knowledge that was lost, and he predicted it. He said the knowledge of Egypt would be lost because the Egyptians spoke a language amongst themselves that a single word can open up, as Hermes says, a place that you can travel to that the body can't go.
Whoa.
And in this Hermetica that I'm reading right here, look how it influenced the people when it was first discovered again. Da Vinci, Botticelli, Bacon,
Paracelsus, Thomas Aquinas, is that who that is?
Yep. William Blake. Yes. Kepler.
Isaac Newton, for all his scientific discoveries, his dearest and the work closest to his heart was his translation of the Bible.
Yes. And
John Donne.
Look at all this. It's a who's who. Yeah. Everything that we look in today for philosophy of the Renaissance parents came from this book. And the thing that got me was this. It was during this time when these knowledges were being written down by the ancient scribes that the Hermetica began to be developed, and it was taken from the ancient Egyptians. My point is here, as I wanted to show you.
What's this book you're reading from, Wayne?
This is the Hermetica. I'll actually show it to you here, and if you like to, I'll get you a copy of it.
Yeah, I was going to do it right after the show.
And this is my point. When you learn what happened at the Library of Alexandria, which housed some 500,000 scrolls, Jeff, they were the wisdom, the ancient wisdom. You can see the works of the Euclid, the Archimedes, Platonius, all of these. The domination of where spheres of geometry, mathematics, all this came from the Hermetica, Hermes.
Wow.
And what really got me was here, how we lost it. The golden age of Alexander came to an end with the birth of the intolerant Christian Holy Roman Empire.
That's who burned it.
That's who burned it. Exactly. It says, despite the sophistication and cultural achievements of the ancients, the Christians referred to them dismissively as pagans.
And think about that today, Wayne. It still is a term that is a derisive term. Pagans. That's pagan.
I get called all the time. You're nothing more than, a GD pagan.
Well, thank you very much. That's a high compliment.
I said, well, I finally made it.
I finally made it. Exactly.
So here in 415, and
it talks about it right here. Yep.
Yeah, here it is. One of the greatest scientists and pagan philosophers working at the Library of Alexandria was seized by a mob of Christians who removed her flesh with scallop shells and burnt her remains.
Think about that sentence, Wayne. A mob of Christians, God is love, turn the other cheek, love your neighbor as yourself. This mob of Christians grabs a woman, removes her flesh with scallop shells, and burns her. But remember, God is love.
And look who their leader was.
A bishop. And you dare to write me and ask me why I left big time Christianity.
And he was canonized, by the way.
Yeah.
And so Theodos, he was the one who came in and closed all the pagan temples down and started the book burning. Never before done.
And all these people talk about Hitler burning books. Guess who started it? It was your Christian church, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not an indictment upon all Christians. There's a lot of honest-hearted, decent people seeking enlightenment within Christian churches. That's why Wayne and I and a lot of other people bring you data. We're like the mailman. Sometimes we bring you bills and you hate us. Sometimes we bring you checks and you love us. But we're bringing you the information where you can make up your own mind.
Exactly. So I'll just kind of fade out of this. So when the pagans were being burnt literally alive, they fled to, of all places, the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, can you imagine they had to flee to the Islam?
There you got it. And because of the pagans and the knowledge they brought, the Ottoman Empire became the greatest empire for nearly 9 centuries, exceeding in mathematics, astronomy, building, architecture. I mean, just list goes on.
Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. That's what the Christians did.
Yep. I just want to read what the Tabat had to say, this because I thought this was so interesting. We are the heirs and progenitors of paganism. Happy is he who, for the sake of paganism, bears the burden of persecution with firm hope. Who else have civilized the world and built cities, if not the nobles and kings of paganism? Who else have set in order the harbors and the rivers? Who else have taught the hidden wisdom? But to whom else has the deity revealed itself, given oracles, and told about the future, if not the famous men among the pagans? The pagans have made known all of this. They have discovered the art of healing the body. They have also made known the art of healing the soul. They have filled the earth with the settled forms of government and with wisdom, which is the highest good. Without paganism, the world would be empty and miserable.
And it'd be on lockdown.
Yeah. So I'll send you this.
That's so powerful. That is so true.
Yeah, you're going to love this book. I'm telling you, it goes into the Florentines, how they prospered. And you know what? I just want to end with this. So the guy, yes, I think it was Rochelin. He was arrested, taken to the Vatican, held as a prisoner for 8 years, tortured, and then, and I want to get to it, they took him out into the pontiff's garden and burned him alive, the Square of Flowers. Bruno's.
Wow.
They tortured him for 8 years to get him to confess so they could put it into print that this hermetic wisdom was of the devil. But they were profiting off of it. And when he said no, and the pagans were becoming too great in France, boom. So there we go. The Thrice Great Hermes. And folks, if you haven't gotten it, you need to get it.
There's no doubt about it. It's just amazing that everything we think we know is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Boy, you just hit the proverbial nail on the head.
Because we've been taught a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like we're in a big prison and they control all the information and they're trying to keep us from, what was that movie where was that M. Night Shyamalan movie and the people were living, they thought the whole world was within those hedges and some of them snuck out.
The Village.
That's where we are, man. We're living in the village.
Yeah, we are. That's how in 2,000 years, this government, and in fact, that's what I wrote. I said, Christianity is nothing more than a political organization.
That's right.
It came from Rome. I mean, the Caesars, the Flavians knew they could not maintain a civil government. They couldn't do it by military. But the one thing they did figure out is that if you made it a religion, you can put it on autopilot. The people will adore it.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, on October 24th, on Vinny Eastwood's channel, I'm going to be in what was supposed to be a debate, but it's going to be more of a discussion now. Myself and Joseph Atwell, the author of Caesar's Messiah, joining Vinny Eastwood for a couple hours discussion on the many thoughts and stories of the Jesus mythos. That should be really interesting.
That's going to be great. Make sure you leave the link on that because I'll promote it on my channel as well.
Absolutely, we'll do. It'll come up October 24th, so we have a little bit of time.
Good. And if you haven't read the book, you should read it. Caesar's Messiah is probably one of the more eye-opening. I think, Jeff, for me, it's one of the opportunities for people to really get a view of what Roman history was.
Absolutely. It's a great book.
Yeah, it opens up. I mean, the cult of Bacchus. I mean, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And, Bacchus was kind of the foundation of where the whole, I call it the threads of the border, because now you can start filling in between anyway.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a great 2 hours. You're going to do good on that.
What do you have coming up, Wayne?
But this week I'm doing a show every day at noon, and I've decided that I'm just going to dedicate my library and start bringing it out to people, because there's a lot of people who can't afford to buy the books, and I'm going to start bringing it. We're going to be reading the Worlds in Collisions by Emanuel Volotsky, talking about how the universe, the known universe we have here in our solar system, that science is now beginning to realize Earth was most likely a moon of Saturn.
Interesting.
So
I've never heard that.
Yeah, and he gets into the science of it. And so we're reading that, and we're also going to be reading the Harmonica as well. I want people to understand what the mind of Hermes was. And he was a brilliant man. I mean, if you can call him a man.
Was Hermes Thoth?
That's what the legend says.
Yeah.
And, I think I just to get off on when you read The Secret Knowledge of John in the Nag Hammadi, Thoth is said to have taught John, and that's why John wrote the Gospel of John.
That makes so much sense, because if you read John's writings, especially the Gospel of John, it's very much, people have called it the most pagan book of the New Testament. And
it is a pagan book.
It is a pagan book.
It is.
It's full of different schools. I think it was John's attempt, and I postulated this in my book, Final Message of the Last Apostle. I think it was John's attempt to bring together all the great schools of thought, Thoth thought, all the great schools of thought of all the best of human spirituality, and present them in a unified context.
And it bears so much wisdom, because I'm seeing where John was writing about Atom.
Absolutely.
Atom is the word. It's the only way. You can't describe God by a word. The only word you can say is that he is the word.
Absolutely.
And
Hermes
I missed
is
it.
Thoth, Mercury, thrice Hermes, Buddha, many other incarnations, says Robert USN vet, 3rd generation. That's a smart guy.
Yeah. I think it's so important that, you see, they had to make a sacrificial lamb. They had to make a martyr. And that's where we've adapted. And then unfortunately, it biases people like myself who come out of this, and you just want to say, wait a minute, if you're using Jesus, let's just get real. That is a modern term name. I'd like to know who the original name was.
Yep, absolutely.
But since we can't do that, what I have to understand now is that the message of Jesus Christ is not a religion. It's not a dogma. It's not an ideology. It's the synthesis of who God is. And that transcends a religion, a race, and a species.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it, Wayne.
So
great stuff. Powerful stuff. It is not your normal Sunday show, that's for sure.
So what do you got going this week? Because I always love tuning in and seeing what you're doing as I'm reading. And
well, we're going to have an amazing show tomorrow night with Jay Campbell. Jay is on to some really great stuff, and it's a little bit outside my comfort zone. It pushes my comfort zone a little bit. It goes into all of the things that are going on by the powers that be, but it needs to be brought out and it needs to be known. I've got today some stuff that I think is tremendously powerful about our shadow self, our shadow work, something I'm calling the Peter Paul paradox, which is really stunning information to me. And I continue to just try to grow and learn and understand. And I'm in a real period of growth now and facing myself and facing down some baggage that needed to be cleaned out. So I think you're gonna see a real advancement. And I hope you're going to see the content coming from this channel improve. And it's because of people like Wayne and like Derek. And I just have to say this, Wayne and I have had our tense moments. I don't think we've ever got to a place where we didn't like each other, but we've had some tense moments. But I have had some of the most profound revelations of the last 6 months of my life have come through this man. And this is a good man. And you should be subscribed to his channel and listening to him.
Thank you, Jeff. That blesses me. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And it's all true.
Well, as I said in my shirt, I know I'm going to have a lot of different religions. So come on board.
We're on the express path.
You're a good man, Jeff.
We're going.
And I got to tell folks, listen, the thing about Jeff Doherty is that to get out of the indoctrination takes someone who's been there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a guide who's never gone down a region before. That's not a guide. That's a guess.
Yep. That's a guess, isn't it? Yep.
It is. And the thing about Mr. Doherty is that you read his material, you listen to it, and it will provide you a guide as you're traversing through this, because it's hell, folks. Hell is what I think now is that when you become unindoctrinated, that you have to go back because you realize you're in hell.
Yep.
You wake up and you go, what the hell?
And we might even be dead, Wayne.
Well, there is that thought that says that this life is nothing more than the mortal dream of our true selves.
Yep. And it could well be.
Could well be.
And with that, he's Wayne Steiger. I'm Jeffrey Doherty. The divinity in me recognizes the divinity in you. I do salute you all for being here seeking after truth.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe to Wayne's channel. And folks, keep asking questions, keep questioning answers, because I'm convinced we are the last generation of real humans, and it's time for us to get busy. And Wayne will help you get some information that'll make you a lot more effective as you get busy. Wayne, thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Jeff. You're a good man.
You as well, my friend. Take care. Love and light to all.